Let's start in the US with the Democrats, who are a broken party right now. They're leaderless, they're rudderless, and their solution to that is to spend $20 million to research how to win back American men. Yes, the plan, codenamed SAM, or Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan, promises to use the funds to, and I quote, study the syntax, language and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. Douglas, you're a man. What is your advice to the Democrats? How can they win back male voters?
One of them, I'd start by not talking about the virality of male spaces. I think that's immediately going to be off-putting. It's so strange, isn't it, Rita? I mean, tens of millions of dollars, well done to the consultants who've squeezed that out of Democrat donors and others. It's really, I could save them the money. I'll tell them now, all you have to do is to show male voters in America, as with female voters, simply that you're on their side, that you don't hate them, that you don't look down on them or regard them as second-class citizens. You don't think they should move aside or stay in their lane or hand over privilege or anything else. You just demonstrate that you're on their side and that you understand their concerns. And if you do understand their concerns, you don't then dismiss their concerns as being always racist, misogynistic, heteronormative, and so on. It's really so easy. But yeah, $20 million to some people who'll give worse advice than I just gave for free.
You should invoice, because I think that's far better than studying the syntax and virality of male spaces. Wow. Now let's go to Disney. There's reports that Disney and ABC bosses have urged the ladies of The View to just scale back some of their political commentary, perhaps tone down their anti-Trump diatribes, which can get a little bit demented. It's not gone well. Whoopi and co cannot bring themselves to even admit that there may be a problem or two in South Africa. Have a listen to this.
I made movies in South Africa. I've been in South Africa. I sent your son
to South Africa,
to talk to people that I know who still live there. There's no white genocide, okay? There's not a genocide happening.
Douglas, I would love to see you on The View, but what's your response there to the ladies? Because Whoopi's made movies in South Africa, so everything's fine there.
Yes, absolutely. She must have really got a feel for the place on the movie set, I'm sure. It's such an example, actually, of what we were just discussing about this. I'm like, why can't they accept that the situation for many white South Africans is absolutely dire, particularly in farming communities? Why can't they accept that that might be the case and it's not a zero-sum game? I can see what they're doing. This is the classic anti-Trump movement thing. If Trump says something, you can never concede he might be onto something. You've got to say he's onto absolutely nothing and laugh off any issue he raises, including really serious ones. People like the presenters on The View can say things like, well, why isn't he focusing on genocides elsewhere? Why isn't he focusing on X human rights abuse? Why human rights abuse? Look, there are two things about this. One is, again, this is not a zero-sum game. Because many black South Africans get murdered in South Africa, mainly by other black South Africans, does not mean that no white South African suffers as well. And as for the sort of thing of prioritizing, I'd say that, there's a very obvious answer that the Trump administration can give to this, which is there are many countries in the world that prioritize all sorts of human rights concerns, but very few that have even noticed the human rights violations against white South African farmers. And so, yes, if nobody else is mentioning it, if it's not the cool thing, the cool genocide for the View women to do, then nevertheless, it's perhaps even more so. It's something worth highlighting.
I just don't understand this complete hostility to granting asylum to a few dozen Afrikaners, South African farmers, who are going to assimilate well into any Western country, who speak English, who work hard, who are generally very law-abiding, Douglas. Why are people who are so pro-migrant, pro-open borders hostile to this? Is it purely a skin colour issue?
I think it's very largely that. And there's another underlying thing about this story, which I'm sure, like me, Rita, you can't help but notice. It's something along the lines of, it happens with many examples of hypocrisy like this, which is it's not happening. It might be happening, but even if it were happening, it's not as bad as this other thing that's happening. And then the move to, okay, maybe it is happening, but they kind of deserve it in some way. I think that is underlying a lot of the coverage of this story. And generally speaking, if a group is being murdered or is being targeted for annihilation, the idea that you excuse it by saying that underneath all of this, they're guilty by dint of their skin color, of something that happened a generation ago now, 2 generations ago, would ordinarily be regarded as morally obscene. So why isn't it here?
Well, collective guilt seems to be in fashion right now.